Clerk, will you please call roll?
Blunt,
Here.
Glenn, here. Campbell,
Here.
Bostic,
Here.
Hopper, here. Aaron, here. Benton.
Here.
We have a quorum. This meeting is open for business. Councilwoman Glenn will lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everybody bow your head. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we will have Mayor Dylan Bell proceed with our proclamations.
Whereas this 24th day of April 2018, I proclaim this day First Responders Day in the City of Gadsden. The City of Gadsden is grateful for the men and women who worked tirelessly for the citizens of Etowah County during last month's tornadoes. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Dylan Bell, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, recognize the 24th day of April as First Responders Day in the City of Gadsden. Whereas this 24th day of April 2018, I will proclaim this day Coach Reginald Huff Day in the City of Gadsden. Coach Huff is the boys basketball coach at Gadsden City High School. This day is to recognize Coach Huff on achieving his 500th win during this basketball season. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Dylan Bell, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, proclaim this day as Coach Reginald Huff Day in the City of Gadsden. Whereas this 24th day of April 2018, I proclaim the month of May Teacher Appreciation Month in the City of Gadsden. This month is to honor all teachers in the City of Gadsden for their hard work and dedication to the teaching profession. Teachers impact lives every day, every profession, whether doctor, musician, athlete, entertainer, or government employee, had to go through a teacher. So we value them and appreciate all that they do. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Dylan Bell, Mayor of the City of Gadsden, by the virtue of authority vested in me, recognize the 24th day of April as Teacher Appreciation Month in the City of Gadsden.
At this time, is there any unfinished business?
None.
Okay. Now we will have the reading of the city ordinances, starting with Ms. Aaron.
Teen curfew abolished. The teen curfew, as it currently stands, is unfair to law-abiding teenagers and should be abolished. Parents, not city officials, should establish a time for young adults to be at home.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Councilwoman Aaron?
I kind of disagree with this because there should be a time that people should be at home.
Councilwoman Glenn?
I feel that if the parents believe that their kid can stay out that late, that they can stay out as late as they want to.
I second that.
Mayor Bell?
I agree with Councilwoman Aaron.
This ordinance is now closed. Moving on, Councilwoman Hopper?
Citywide School Revitalization Month. The month of July would be set aside for each year for the City of Gadsden to partner with local businesses such as landscape companies, carpenters, Lowe's, and Walmart to donate goods to help renovate our schools inside and out. Volunteers in the community would provide for this labor.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Councilwoman Blunt?
I agree. I think this is a great way for businesses to attract customers and to advertise.
Mayor Bell?
I also agree, but I feel like it should be more than just 1 month of the year. I feel like it should be all year round.
Campbell?
I agree with Mayor Bell. I feel like if we're using their goods, then we'll know that maybe we should go pursue their goods. So I agree.
Aaron?
I also agree because as a city, we're looking for our youth to be the future, so why not invest in our schools? So.
I second that. This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Councilwoman Glenn.
Additional SROs in each school. In an effort to be proactive instead of reactive to incidents that happen in schools, increase the number of school resource officers according to school size. There should never be a discussion about what could have been done to prevent a harmful act.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Mayor Bell.
I agree with this idea, but the problem is funding. I've spoken to 2 SRO officers in our school, and they both told me that, in their personal opinion, they believe that there should be more SROs than just 2, but the problem is funding, and we don't have enough police officers.
Blunt.
I agree to having more SRO officers. I know Stripling and Gaston Middle share officers, and a criminal could be watching and waiting on the SRO officer to leave one school to head in that school to harm the kids. So, yeah.
I second that. Campbell.
I agree. It's all about funding, but we got to create more jobs for these police officers. We can't have 2 police officers in a big high school and they be on one side of the building and somebody knows that, and then next thing you know, something happens on the other side of the building, and it could just be a distraction. So I feel like we need more jobs. So I agree.
Mayor Bell.
I was also told that out of the whole Gadsden City school system, only 2 officers are certified SROs. The rest of them are police officers, and the only 2 SROs are paid by the school. The rest of them that watch over the elementary and middle schools are government paid. So that's another issue.
What about if we raise a sales tax?
But then you have to think about your citizens. Nobody wants to pay extra sales tax.
People complain about taxes as it is.
Tax.
But it comes to the protection of our students, our children, our nieces,
Yeah.
our nephews, our future as a whole. This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Moving on, Benton.
Teen Street, a designated area of the city property that will allow teenagers to come together and hang out, listen to music, and hang out with friends without being harassed by adults.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Campbell.
I've been waiting on this one. The skating rink used to be a place where teens would go and hang out and have fun until its reputation was shot by a knifing or a gun shooting that I just heard about this morning. Also, the incident that happened over there at the Waffle House. I mean, that's a small parking lot, and you have teenagers from other cities, other counties coming, hanging out. Then teens, you just can't trust teenagers these days. And why would we create a whole street, a whole street, when we can't even behave in a small, simple parking lot where it's designated for people to eat?
To correct you, Campbell, it is a parking lot. It is not a street. It's just called Teen Street.
Where does it say? Where does it say parking? I mean, like it's a street. Why would we?
It doesn't say it, but it's called Teen Street.
Yeah, but why would we have a whole street if we can't even behave?
It's not a street. It's a parking lot.
Okay.
Moving on.
If it's a parking lot, but it's like still, why would we put our money into that and just for incidents to happen?
What if we start a watch of the officers? With this, we can have more jobs open available in the police department, more training. Glenn, I think you.
Yes, I don't believe that we can trust teens enough to have a teen street, so I agree with Campbell.
Also funding, you gotta fund these extra jobs that Ms. Bostic is talking about.
Mayor Bell.
I disagree with you, Council President. I don't believe this is a good idea at all. We shouldn't, depend on officers to watch over teenagers who we can't trust because, like I said earlier, we don't have enough officers already on the streets. So why do we need them watching over a bunch of teenagers?
You were saying that the children, the teenagers that we do not trust, but what about the teenagers that we do trust, who don't have an outlet to just relax and have fun with their friends? Because at certain times of the night, most businesses are closed. And so it's nothing really for them to do except for them to go to the Waffle House, and then for certain ages, the movies you're not able to get into a movie at a certain age at night, at that time of night. And so what about those kids? What about those teenagers? What do we do? What do we have available for them in this city? Aaron?
What if we had an alternative instead of it being outside? Why not have a building for youth for those purposes where we can divide our youth? You have your younger kids, you have your older kids that want to be with older kids, and have it that way. And it still be can call Teen Street where they come, but not a parking lot. And it does have certain hours.
Benton?
Where will we get the money to fund this building at?
Hopper?
I agree with Aaron because a teen street is a bad idea, but we can't even go to the mall and hang out without getting in trouble for loitering. So we do need somewhere that we can go and hang out at night.
Bell?
I'm also asking the same question as Benton, where we're going to find the money to fund this.
We can get back to that, finding a building and trying to see if we can search around and look and see what do we have available in the city that is already owned by the city. Aaron?
And to solve the job situation, you can create a summer job or a city job there for people that don't have jobs. So,
Because we do have an unemployment rate in the city of Gadsden. We're trying to bring in new jobs, but it's kind of hard with this economy. Yes, Campbell?
I agree with Ms. Aaron. We can create more summer jobs because from what I was recently told, there's more Glencoe, Holt's Bluff kids getting the jobs that were created for the Gaston city school kids. Those jobs are created for us. It's Gaston, recreation, and parks. So I feel like that would be a good opportunity to create more jobs.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Moving on. Convention Hall annexed by Gaston City Schools. The city would allow Convention Hall to be accessible to all schools in the system for uses such as dances, proms, coronation, banquets, award ceremonies, and etc. It will allow the school system to have a facility off school campus to hold the many events on their school calendars free of charge. This ordinance is now open for discussion. Mayor Bell?
I think this is a great idea, but I know the Convention Hall, the older one, is out of date, and I just want to know where we're going to find the funding to renovate the building.
I second that.
Blunt?
I agree because kids complain about prom tickets being so high and it go towards the building. And I feel like if we can access this building, it'll be better for everyone.
Glenn?
I agree with Ms. Blunt because many students do not go to prom because they cannot afford prom tickets to go and they can't afford all the expenses of prom. So having a free building would be great.
I second that. We had this current situation this year with having to find a building to house our prom because the building that we had already booked for Gaston City's prom, it was sold to a private investor, and we were not able to have our prom at that venue. We had to scramble with the least amount of time that we had to try to find a venue. which was kind of hard because most places are booked when it gets closer to the date. Mayor Bell?
I'm trying to figure out, like, the funding, because you keep saying jobs, 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 but there's got to be something else besides jobs to make money and fund for this, because we don't want to have a prom there and the roof, God forbid, collapses on all the students. So I just want to know where we're going to find the money to fix this older building.
President Gaston. President
Okay.
Gaston. One last remark. In that case, you might actually have to raise sales tax by maybe a penny or something like that. If it's a specific need for it, which I agree with, so.
Because with this money, we'll be able to fund a couple of projects, actually. Maybe some of that can go to the Teen Street. Campbell?
The people need to say so in this. We don't want to raise the taxes and it be a problem. So I say we should vote. It's freedom of speech in this country we call America. So there you go. It's all on you.
We are the elected officials of
But
our district.
they have a say. They have a say so.
They elected us to
We are
speak
the
on their
legislative
behalf.
branch. We legislate.
Speaking out of turn.
So,
Any other remarks? This ordinance is now closed. Moving on. Blunt.
Gaston City Drive-In Theater. The city would invest in property on the outskirts of town to build a drive-in movie. There is a demand for this among teenagers and adults. It would be a good investment and would bring in revenue.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Aaron?
I agree with this idea because theater costs now are high. Like, movies used to be $5, $6, and now it's almost 10. And a lot of people would be interested in driving in because we don't have that here. So that would be a great revenue for our city.
I agree with that. Large families can't go to the movies under like $50. So if you had a drive-in, it would be probably $15 a car load. So that way larger families can get involved and do family stuff on the weekends and have fun.
Hopper?
I agree. I think this would also be a good alternative to Teen Street because 65% of teenagers and young adults say they prefer a drive-in theater over an indoor theater.
That can help with some of the funding issues.
Yeah, it could.
Okay, this ordinance is now closed for discussion. Campbell?
build a state-of-the-art skating ring. Purchase land to build a state-of-the-art skating ring. Designated days set aside for different age groups. High school kids don't want to skate with elementary kids or their parents.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Aaron?
I disagree with this because I don't feel like it's a mandate on it, especially when you're asking for a teen street as well. So I disagree.
Bell?
I agree with Councilwoman Aaron. I believe that we're trying to invest in too many things for just teenagers, and we forget that there's also senior citizens in the city, as well as adults and children. So I think we should invest our time and money into, things for not just teenagers, but, the whole population.
I second that. Campbell?
I triple that. I actually agree with y'all. But honestly, Gaston is a retirement city anyway, known across America. So we should build more for the teenagers, but it's not all about the teenagers. So I do agree with y'all.
From the remarks that we were hearing this morning, when companies come into the city of Gadsden and they're planning on bringing their businesses, they plan on having a good school system, which we do have that at Gaston City. But but they also look for things to, that their children can have fun in and invest their time in, and the outlets that they can have. And that's what we're wanting to build here in Gaston, because we don't have that, really. Mayor Bell.
Back to what Campbell said, he said this is a retirement city. In my opinion, I blame the parents of these children, and that goes back to, these summer jobs, and how he said Glencoe and Hokes Bluff kids are getting these jobs made for Gadsden City children. And I think it's the parents' fault for not making their child go out there and find a job and get a job. So.
But Mayor Bell, we have hundreds and hundreds of students who, all around the city of Gaston, who apply for these jobs, but nowadays it's the students from Hokes Bluff and Glencoe who are getting these jobs. And sometimes it's because their parents work for the city. And that's what we have right now. And it's not because some students don't apply for the job. What about the students that do apply for the job but don't get it? And Glencoe students get it over the Gaston City students, which is a city job and is from the city of Gadsden. And they don't even live in the city limits. Campbell?
I agree with all you just said, but the only thing is though, if we're gonna create more businesses, why, like Gander Mountain just went out of business. We got an academy right down, I don't know the street name, but honestly though, if we're gonna have more businesses, we need to create more variety of things instead of that's where our funding should go, instead of just Teen Street and the skating ring. That create more jobs, keep more kids safe, keep more kids from being in trouble.
Councilwoman Aaron?
Speaking of funding, I was told earlier that we are only funded, we have a limit of $50 million. So, like, we have no personal say in private-owned business. And that could hurt us if we do invest into private-owned business, because they can always go out of style. So once that's out of style, we're left to pay for it. So I feel like the skating ring would be a great idea, but is it mandatory? Like, do we necessarily have to have it when we already have one?
Mm-hmm. Campbell?
I agree with that, because from what I was told this morning, that there's a public and private, it's like a partnership, and by going out of style, I heard back in older days, my parents' older days, sorry, I accidentally hit the mic. They say that the guy that owns the skating ring used to get a school bus and go and get the kids and pick them up at 2:30 and bring them back at 5 for their parents to pick up. So I say, we don't do that anymore, so why should we invest in more private businesses when we know that there's a chance the FBI might be on our tails, because we can't really we can't tell them what to do with their stuff.
This ordinance is now closed. Moving on, Glenn?
Senior Citizens Driving Test. Our senior citizens are a valuable part of our community. However, a mandatory retake of the road test and vision test upon the age of 68 for renewal of the driver's license. This is a safety issue for all citizens, and it is needed.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Councilwoman Blunt?
I agree. I believe some senior citizens, no disrespect, forget how to drive. Like, they forget to check their blind spots, and also, I agree.
Mayor Bell?
I also agree with this. I have read a few studies, and it shows that 58% of wrecks that occur in the state of Alabama is because of a senior citizen driving.
I second that, because sometimes we worry about, people don't realize that driving too slow can also get you a ticket. And we have a lot of our elderly citizens who are out on these dangerous highways such as Interstate 759, which, you know, if they're driving too slow in the 70 speed limit highway, this could be a hazard to all of the students who are going to Gaston City during traffic times. Campbell?
I agree to that. Well, I second what Ms. Bostic said. When I was 18, my mom bought me a Mustang, and I was on the way to school one day. And I kid you not, the speed limit is about 70, and this person was going about 30, and I had to slam on the brakes, and I almost hit that person. So I feel like they should revamp. They should revamp. They should revamp the road test.
Hopper?
I agree with this because I have a great grandmother who's almost 90, and we can't get her off the roads for anything. And she's a danger to this people too.
And just as a proclaimer, we are not trying to insist that it's only going to hurt our youth or anyone else that's driving on the roads. We also want to watch out for our elderly who are on the roads because something could happen to them, and we want to prevent that at all, in all ways. Mayor Bell?
To add to this, there's been plenty of times where I've been driving myself and I've almost been hit by a senior citizen because they turned down the wrong road and they're going straight for me. And if they can't, watch out for a car that's in front of them, I mean, they can easily run over somebody crossing the street, like kids playing or something like that, so.
All right, this ordinance is now closed for discussion. Moving on, Councilwoman Aaron.
Metal detectors in all schools. Due to the recent school shootings all over the nation, schools need to invest in additional security measures. Metal detectors should be placed in all schools for the safety of students, teachers, and staff. The city would partner with Gaston City Schools and businesses to purchase the metal detectors.
This ordinance is now open for discussion. Campbell?
I agree. I have a nephew who went to Huffman High School with an intelligent young group of female and gentlemen, and they went to Huffman, and it was told to them that the girl that got shot, the guy that got into the school with the gun, he actually didn't have the gun on him when he first entered the school. It was the problem. The issue was he left the school and got the gun. So if we're going to have these metal detectors, we need to have them on at all times and all over the building.
Mayor Bell?
I mean, I think this is a wonderful idea, but this goes back to additional SROs, because you can't just leave a metal detector sitting there, and because it goes off doesn't mean anything. You need to have a police officer right there with every metal detector, and there's not just one entrance to a high school, so you have to have one at every entrance. And so this goes back to not enough police in the city to have this, and not enough funding.
Councilwoman Aaron?
If you reduce the amount of metal detectors you bring into the school, you also have to reduce the limits of what entrances students can go through. So the metal detector is a great idea, but how are you going to get it to actually function correctly? And as Mayor Bell said, have SROs still on mandate.
Councilwoman Blunt?
I agree to the metal detectors because it is so easy for a student to bring a weapon into schools, because in our handbook it says mesh backpacks, ones that you can see through, but nobody follows that rule. So it's really easy for them to bring a weapon in the school.
I second that.
Me too.
Me too.
This ordinance is now closed for discussion. Moving on the agenda, is there any new business?
No.
None.
Okay, at this time, we will have a departmental report. And as I've seen, it's none. Okay, and moving on to our final thing on the agenda, we will have remarks by the members of the council and also our mayor and the clerk. Starting with Mayor Bell.
Yes, I'd like to thank the YMCA and the city council for allowing us to come and experience this today. It was really fun.
Councilwoman Blunt.
I would like to thank the YMCA and the city officials and the city council for this opportunity. It was fun.
Councilwoman Glenn.
I would also like to thank YMCA and the city officials for letting us spend the day with them. It's been a wonderful experience.
Councilman Campbell.
I would like to thank the YMCA and the city officials and Miss Katie Hodrick for allowing all this to happen today.
Councilwoman Hopper.
I would also like to thank the YMCA and City Council for allowing us to have this opportunity to come and see what it's like to be in their shoes for the day.
Councilwoman Aaron.
I want to say thank you to everyone that made this day possible, Ms. Katie, our city officials, YMCA, and thank you for the opportunity.
Councilman Benton.
I'd like to thank the YMCA, Miss Katie, and the city officials.
City Clerk Crofton.
I would like to thank Miss Katie and everyone who made this day possible. It was a great and fun experience, and I would personally like to thank the city clerk because I know she does a lot, and she just really inspired me today.
I would like to thank the YMCA for the delicious food, and also Councilman Cannon for the delicious refreshments this morning, who came out of his own budget. And also, I'd like to thank our teacher, our instructor, Ms. Katie Hardrick, for her tireless efforts day in, day out during the school hours, for meeting with us, helping us prepare for this day, and also for coming with us today to assist us in any way. I also like to thank the councilmen and councilwoman, Ms. Cynthia Toles, for meeting with us this morning and letting us have this today. I also like to thank all city officials for having other students following behind you in your footsteps today. It has been our honor and our pleasure for being here. Thank you, and at this time, the meeting of the Gaston City Council will now be adjourned.